He lives, y'all live in Carrollton. Moving soil, moving mud. They get the prize. Good man.
Calling the meeting to order.
We're here, Mr. Chair.
Turns out we have more announcements to do than I thought. First, let me ask a question. How many of you are here to the First Time Sierra Club meeting? First Time Sierra Club? Okay, Ginger, we have those sign-up sheets. You can sign up to get our newsletter. It's free. Comes by email. You'll find out what's going on with the Dallas Sierra Club. Next, we have some pre-meeting announcements that we need to go over. And I think first, we have with us this evening John Rath, who is the chairman of Downwinders at Risk. He lives in Richardson, right, John?
Yes, sir.
And he wants to make a brief announcement about stuff going on in Richardson and some help that he is looking for. Come on up, John.
All right, thank you. I can talk from here if everybody can hear me.
No.
No, because
No?
you can't.
No?
Sorry, John. Good try. We're very official here.
Yeah, we're very announced.
Thanks, Dan. Kirk Miller and I are Richardson residents, and we are in the process of trying to find other Richardson residents who would be interested in meeting with city council members. They're newly elected, some of them, and so they should be receptive to hearing our ideas on how we can improve the recycling program, which is kind of archaic in our opinion, but we're going to stay positive. We want to talk a little bit about pedestrian mobility, and that kind of dovetails into air quality. So if anyone here is from Richardson and would be interested, I'm here if you want to talk to me, or if you want to take my information down from the board over there, that'd be fine. Or if you know anybody that's in Richardson and might be interested in kind of improving the community a little bit, we'd appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, John. By the way, John used to be chairman of the Dallas Sierra Club. I don't know why he left. He should come back.
No, Dan, you can't get out of it.
Now, Liz, would you like to come up and do make an announcement for ICO, Liz Whelan?
Welcome, everyone.
Slide.
Thank you, and welcome to everyone. My name is Liz Whelan, and I, along with Lois Campbell, raise your hand here, and Lynn Marple, raise your hand, a few others. We're part of what's called ICO, which is our outreach program. Some of you have heard about us already. We've been around a long time. Our whole purpose is to get kids into the outdoors who without us would not have that opportunity. We do a lot of day hikes on Saturdays, that type of thing. We partner with local schools and organizations, kids from those groups who would most need us. And we have an opportunity this fall, this school year, to possibly expand to some new groups. And we'd really like to get a feel for how many volunteers and people we have to join that effort. So I'm asking for, especially in July and August, by the August general meeting, if you could please let me know if you're interested. I would love to add you to our list. There's no commitment. What I do is just give you the information. We do a little informal new volunteer orientation, and you can see what it's all about, and then we'll know how many people we have on board for the fall and spring, or for the school year, to then be able to commit to these groups that want us to take their kids outdoors. We all have a place of nature in our heart, and for myself and many of us in the room, getting these kids out is what's so important. It's a really wonderful program. There's no cost to you. There's no definite time commitment other than maybe a couple of times a year or more, whatever's good for your schedule. So if you're interested, we have a board. It's not as big as the other boards in the back because we can't carry those big ones in our cars. So we have a littler board. At the end of the wonderful chocolate zucchini cake and chocolate cookies. So it's strategically placed. I have a notebook and a pen. So if you'll just be kind enough to leave your name and email address and phone number, I'll be happy to contact you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Now, we're going to have Renee Robertson, who is one of our co-chairs for our programs committee, and she's also on the executive committee. We have had some people leave the club recently, and we have a problem with our refreshments. The people who scheduled the speakers were also doing the food and drinks, and that's just too much. So we're going to go to a new system whereby a person coordinates food and drinks, and then we have people sign up. And she's going to explain this system and then pass around a sheet to see if we can get anyone to sign up to bring something for the August and September meetings. Come on up, Renee.
Okay, thank you very much. I made a handwritten template this will eventually go on the computer, but we may have too many different items. So just for August and September, if you could sign up, if you're able to sign up for drinks, chips or dips or whatever, and where it says cheese tray, Liz signed up for that, but she wrote September because she can't do August, so don't be confused by that. I'm going to pass it around. It's orange for two reasons, because a lot of times at meetings we have other sheets going around and they get mixed up, and all I have to do is look for this orange sheet, and I'm trying to get rid of the Halloween paper I used for the kids. So this helps. So I'll be passing that around. And I got three things before I don't want to forget anything. I have a flyer here. And this flyer, this is the black and white version of it. We're asking that everybody take 2 or 3 of them to put up on community boards, libraries, or pass to schools, anywhere you think people may be who would be interested in animals, things of that nature. This is going to be really fun. In August, it'll be really fun. So churches, things like that where you think kids will come. And I have a box of them there. I'll be passing some around the tables. Let's see what else. I think that was the last thing. Those were the only 2 announcements that I had. The other one is actually the speaker. Okay, so we're ready.
Oh, well, first we normally, Renee, we do committee reports.
Oh, okay.
But let's see, David's not here. Mark, do you want to come up and tell us what's going on with the outings committee?
Yes, I will. I'm going to tell you about 2 outing opportunities.
You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, all right, I'll stand right here. One is an outing to the Pecos Wilderness. Where in the world, you ask, is that? It's up in the high Sangre de Cristo Mountains of New Mexico, in a triangle between Santa Fe, Taos, and Las Vegas. It's not a desert. This is mountains. This is wet, meaning there's water there, so you don't have to carry a lot with you. We are leaving, this is a Labor Day weekend bus trip to the Pecos Wilderness, leaving on Wednesday night, 9 p.m.
Thursday
we will
night.
sleep. Thank you, Lynn. It is a Thursday night. Thursday night at 9 p.m. We will sleep on the bus, and the next morning we'll wake up in the Pecos Wilderness. We will camp in the wilderness after backpacking on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. Then I think we do, it's the 29th. That's a Thursday?
It says
Okay.
Thursday.
All right, so we camp Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Sunday, we hike until midday. We get on the bus, we come home, we'll have you in your own bed by midnight that Sunday night. So, on Sunday night. Monday night. Okay. August 29th to September 2. Because we'll have you back by midnight on the second. We're not coming back as we have often done at 4 or 5 in the morning. We'll get you back in time to sleep in your own bed. This trip, we really need to know how many people are going by the end of the month. The trip is now more than half full, and we need to know that we can sell the bus by the end of the month so we can pay for it. If we don't have enough to fill it, we'll make some different arrangements for the trip. But the trip will go one way or another. The other thing to tell you about is Beaver's Bend in October. If you don't like to backpack for 3 days and a half, we have a great trip for you in the middle weekend of October. Camping in your tent or camping in a cabin. Come out on a Friday, come out on a Saturday morning if you want, stay through until Sunday morning, and then drive home. Beaver's Bend State Park is in the southeast corner of Oklahoma. Beautiful hilly country. You've seen ads from McCurtain County, Oklahoma on your television. That's where we're going, Beaver's Bend State Park. You can sign up for both of these online, but you have to wait, Liz, until August to sign up for Beaver's Bend. Pecos, you can sign up for right away. Thanks.
Okay, the Conservation Committee co-chairs are not here, so we'll just skip over that. Political chair is not here, I'll skip over that. Kirk, do you want to say something about next month's program, or you, Renee, about the animals?
Next month, we have Critter Man here. He'll have 6 or 7 live animals that are indigenous to this area. And he was here about 3 years ago. It's a great program. And so bring the kids. Actually, if your kids aren't like I am, come yourself. And afterwards, the kids can actually come up and check out the animals live. So don't miss them.
Okay, Wendell, did you want to come up here and tell people that they need to bring their own container?
No, I'll defer to Renee. I can say it. All right, just so everyone remember, I see we actually have a lot of people doing it tonight. It's a Sierra Club policy to try to bring your own container. Obviously, when we have guests, we have cups and such, which are easily recyclable, and we have the cans that are recyclable. But certainly, we all try to do this. And next month, we will also have a nice spread of food. But anybody who is an omnivore or a food expert like myself, we need volunteers to help with the food. You don't have to pay for the food. The club pays for the food. We just need a volunteer to coordinate the refreshments. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
And that's what that sheet is coming around now. If you do bring something, as Wendell suggested, the club will reimburse you for your expenses. Okay, I think that's all the announcements we need to do, all the committee reports we need to do. So now, Renee, would you introduce our short program speaker, please?
I would be happy to. Okay, our speaker tonight is Dr. Chris Dowdy. He's VP of Academic Affairs at Paul Quinn College. Paul Quinn is one of the oldest historically black colleges west of the Mississippi River, if you're not familiar with it. He teaches about innovation, justice in higher education, and politics. He's going to discuss Paul Quinn College's new environmental justice course and some of the things existing in some of the items, some of the things that Paul Quinn is doing in the existing environment and their efforts in the community. And Paul Quinn is south, if you all are not familiar. It's off 45, it's out that way. So without any further delay, Dr. Dowdy.
different mic situations rolling here. Okay. How many more mics can we get, you think? We can keep going. This is very uncomfortable. So, okay, it's fine. Working out. Do you have a little clicker over here? Ah, so good. Okay, so I knew about the your own container rule. I'm just flaunting it. Just flaunting the rule. Just came for the solo cups. Just being very disrespectful. I'm kidding. I had no idea. It's a great rule. I support that rule. So, has anybody here been to the college before? Oh, good. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. The students have been. That's great. Okay. Just verifying. I brought some of my students tonight, lured them with the promise of snacks and bonus points. So they've come to observe and to see how you do your business and hear a little bit about our approach. They're brand new students of the college. We have a program every summer called Summer Bridge. It's a very relaxing program. It's not high pressure at all. It's we bring the students in who were right out of high school. Some of them graduate like 2 days later, get on a bus, get on a plane, come out. Some leave home for the first time to come be a part of the college. And all joking aside, we are so honored that they trust us with their education, with their time. And I'm delighted they came tonight to sort of hear about some of the other work we're doing that they don't know all about yet, actually. Because they're brand new students, so they've just been subjected to my lectures and case studies in class, and now they get to see the community in a really vivid way. So I appreciate you inviting us to be part of this conversation, to be with you, and for them to hear and see sort of how things happen in the wide world outside of our campus and their own communities that they've come from. So I'm grateful to you guys for coming out. Grateful for all of you for giving us a chance to be here. How are we doing on levels? We good? We okay? All right. I'm going to mumble a lot, so just prepare yourself. So. Okay. Okay, I want to talk tonight about 4 choices that we made as a college and how they have moved us to a place where we are thinking about how to build resilience into the core parts of who we are as an educational institution. And as you saw from the summary, part of what I'll talk about tonight is the environmental justice course that we piloted this past spring. But really, the way I want to bring that into the conversation is to help you understand who we are, why we make the decisions we do, and the sorts of agency we are trying to develop in our students as part of the core logic for why we're making the choices we make institutionally, so that we can empower them to make their choices individually in their own organizations they connect with in ways that give them greater political, economic, and cultural self-determination. So that's my North Star, to give them the agency and the power to make those sorts of choices. And because of who you are, I know that you understand how deeply involved the health of our ecosystems are in making those choices possible, even meaningful. And so I want to talk a little bit tonight about how we have come to understand our place in ecology in Southern Dallas, and in a bigger sense of how we are connected to bigger ecosystems in which our actions and our choices have profound impacts for the future. So the first choice that I want to talk about that we made, again, so I'm going to talk about some of what the college has done in the recent past and how that has oriented us for a future that I want to share with you as well. So this is a choice we made in the recent past to turn our football field into a farm. Now, I was born in Louisiana, spent some 400 years in Alabama. I went to high school in the Atlanta area, and I live and work in Texas. So I know that when I say there's a hint of sacrilege about what I'm discussing here, I'm not joking, right? I also did religious studies, so I know that it's the real stuff, right? I can give you chapter and verse on why what we did was sacrilegious, okay? But what we did, we took a football field that was disused, and in 2009 converted it into first to the 50-yard line, and then all the way throughout the entire all 4 downs into what's now a 4-acre farm. And it produces food for the community. We give a portion to the North Texas Food Bank. We put out about 8,000 pounds a year. It continues to grow. We give we pull in about 40,000 revenue from it. Our biggest vendor that we serve is Legend Hospitality, which serves what institution? Cowboys, right, okay. So we don't send football players to NFL, but we send a lot of kale. So that's sort of our thing. What would we think? Like, why would we do something like this? Well, for us, there were a couple of reasons. One was that our students deserve better than to live in food desert conditions. And we just drove up from southern Dallas, all 6 of us. And on that trip, right, you can see the capital start to accrue as you go north. Right? When you look to the side of the road, when you start on 45, you're seeing more and more elaborate junkyards. Right? You're seeing batch plants. You're seeing industrial, sometimes abandoned industrial areas. And the farther north you get, the more stuff you see, the nicer it gets. That's real talk. And what we understand about our students and about our faculty and our staff is that nobody should have to live in a situation where the closest fresh fruit you can get is banana at the Valero at the end of the block. We should have more choices than that. If all you want are chili dogs, God bless you, right? If Sonic's your thing, that should be your thing. But it shouldn't be your only thing. It shouldn't be your only choice. Our students deserve better. So we had the opportunity to solve that problem with an asset that looked like a liability to other people. We turned that liability into an asset, and we made it work for the people that we serve. Because that's how we think about our resources. Where other people see liabilities, where other people see burdens, like we see opportunities. Right? That's who we are as an institution. This is a map. This is a Food Atlas map from USDA, some of their data. This is from 2015 data, I believe. And you can see all the area in green and all the area out there to the west that's green as well. These are areas of low food access and low vehicle access, right? Where it's difficult to the point of hardship to acquire fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. And if you know Dallas a little bit, this is not a surprising map, right? You've seen versions of this map before. It maps other things pretty well. But this particular map, we're right in the heart of this big green area down here, just south of 12. So we thought if we can make a dent, yeah, this is also a reality we're facing, right? So other big adjustments we had to make, like how do we deal with the fact that our football team is terrible, it's never coming back. We had to make a choice. One of President Sorrell's common stories when he was in 2007 when he took over. It was like on April 13th, he took over the college, and April 16th, he terminated the football program. It's like it took like 48 hours for them to figure that out. So we turned that liability to an asset. We use it to serve the community, particularly having to do with what their health was like what the individual bodies and families and legacies of illness say about the kind of community we're building, and how can we as an institution that has a legacy to build, how can we make good choices in a way that will contribute to the health of that community. Choice 2. A couple years later, 2010, turned the summer program into a protest event. Anybody remember the flow control debates about the policy for where all the trash trucks and dump trucks are going to go in southern Dallas? So one of the largest landfills in the southwestern United States is in McComas Bluff, which is just a couple blocks away from the college. You can see the methane burning off occasionally at night, or in the daytime. It's very bright and terrifying to see. So that's just down the street from us. One exit south from us on 45 is Hudson State Jail. So the jail, the dump, and the Black College are all in close proximity. So message received. But in 2010, there's a policy that's proposed to route all the trash trucks for the county, not just for the city, for the county, all over the region, right down Simpson Stewart, right past the front of the college, which is a pretty the carriage for that road is pretty high. It has capacity to do it, but we know what that means. Right? If you've ever driven south and one big go, you start to see it go from clean sides of the road and built up walls and sound walls to protect the different neighborhoods to chain link fences and trash on the side of the road. And every morning when I drive to work, every morning, there's a truck coming south on 45 and stuff flying off of it. Every morning. It doesn't matter what they tell you about the policies, about how nice those trucks are, how well they're secured or whatever. There's always stuff coming off those trucks, going down to landfill. So knowing that it would be a situation where we suddenly had a huge volume of trash coming by the front of our campus, which again would be the equivalent of trash trucks running in front of Mockingbird, on Mockingbird Lane in front of SMU every day, all day. The students and the faculty decided to say something about it. So in one of the versions of this summer bridge program years ago, they got together, they protested the policy at city council. They went down to city council meetings and just stood and made their statements. So they stood and stood silently while other business was going on. They did marches downtown. They had council members in to explain their point of view, pushed really, really hard, and they won. And they won. Right, they got it turned back. And we offered to pay for an environmental impact study. We still haven't seen that happen for that area, for a comprehensive plan for that area. It's been years and years. But that's something that the students got involved in, got engaged with, that became part of President Sorrell's class he teaches every summer to sort of work out this protest movement. And the person who helped lead that, Dexter Evans, became a Student Government Association president, then went on to the University of Pennsylvania to get his master's. Now he's back working for the college as a special assistant and is doing tremendous work for us. So it turns out, right, that when we turn our attention to the issues that people are facing, right, and we just take simple things that should be done simply, where you shouldn't have to deal with trash going across campus when you're trying to go to school, and find ways to defend that right for people, defend that ability for people to experience something nice and pleasant, that it empowers people, makes them feel stronger, makes them feel like they can actually make a difference. Because these students thought nobody would listen to them. Like, they didn't think it would work. Like, you don't think you're that powerful. I don't know, maybe 18-year-olds, think they're amazingly powerful, I don't know. But for the most part, the students that we had were not from places where people listened to them, or where their ideas got carried, or where they could be tested and shown worthy and exercise leadership. But here they got a chance to say, like, we don't think this is right, and they won. So again, it comes down to showing the students that they had the opportunity to exercise agency on things that affect their lives, their health, their quality of life directly. So choice 3, a lot of other things have happened since then. This is a great picture of me lounging in my purple pants here at City Hall. This is Jim Schoenbeck, associate of yours at Dan Winders. So we got a call from some of our friends in one of the organizations that helps with legal aid in the area, and let us know that they're planning that a sort of application for a special use permit for zoning had gone in sort of under the radar in December last year to put in 2 concrete batch plants, basically right across the street from the college, right across 45 on Simpson Stewart. So again, essentially where Mockingbird Station is related to SMU. Imagine 2 giant concrete batch plants going in there, right? Big trucks going in day and night. All that sort of slag from the concrete waste, the noise and the dust, all the particulate matter irritants that come with that. It'd be sort of shocking to see that in Mockingbird Lane. We thought it'd be shocking to see it in Simpson Stewart. The City Planning Commission didn't seem to really see our point of view, so we really sort of pushed quite a bit. A lot of the neighbors were activated on this, and they were really the ones who led the way. We lent our voice to it to some degree, but it's really the people who live in these neighborhoods that were, when they were alerted to this reality, were so offended by the idea that their houses could be treated this way, right? That their quality of life could be so willfully ignored. They wouldn't be consulted. They wouldn't be, when we think of development in this area, we wouldn't think of something better than this. That even though the city has plans to make this to rework the watershed, to make it a place where we've greened all that development, that in actual practice, the zoning and the planning for that area has not gone that direction. I'll turn to the opposite. So when these residents were alerted to this, they stood up for themselves. We did our best to support them, and they did us a couple favors at the City Planning Commission when we actually had these conversations. One was, I think they actually listened to us, which was remarkable. Right, and said, well, that there's a real conflict when the votes first got counted. We actually we barely won and carried the day. It should not have been that close, but it was pretty close. And the chair of the commission said in conversation, I shared some of the things I shared with you just now at the planning commission. We're having a conversation at that hearing, and my contention was simply that as a graduate of SMU, so I can say whatever I want about SMU. As a graduate of SMU, I find it hard to imagine that we find it okay to have a facility like this on Mockingbird Lane. But somehow it's okay at Simpson Stewart. It seems a little contradictory. I don't think we'd be okay with it across from Mockingbird Station, across from SMU. I don't know why it's okay down here. So, this is all parliamentary procedure stuff. So we say our piece, and the commissioners get to respond and then take their vote. And we had two statements from the commissioners that stuck with me that were really hard for me to get over or forget. One is, one commissioner just simply said, that she actually took the mic for a second to say this, and she didn't say anything else. She just said, I just want to say for the record, the analogy between SMU and this is incorrect. That was her whole statement. I was like, what could the difference be between my school and that school? Could it be the historically black nature of it? I don't know. It's like it's as if they're saying the quiet part loud in a situation like that. It's astonishing. But I laughed and just wrote that down. And then the chair of the commission said, I just want to say I've seen these maps. I've looked at this area, and this is not a real neighborhood. Right. Wow. You got to do the zoning. You make the plans for what kind of houses can go there, who can live where. People move out in the country. What was the country then? They have horses. They have friends. Right? They have people over. Their granddaughters come to play. But from the map you see, you decided it's not a real neighborhood. Right. So they did us some favors by making it really clear how people feel about our neighborhood and about who we are. Anybody know what this is? That's Shingle Mountain. Right? Okay, so this is my Marshall Jackson praise break or whatever. So Marshall Jackson was one of the residents who really swung hard for us in that concrete batch plant fight in December last year. And at the same time, she was talking to Jim and some other folks from Dan Winders and others who were connected to the Joppy, and as we were sort of sitting around with other organizations who care about the health and the future of those communities, and mentioned that this thing had been ongoing since like March, and that nobody from the city had responded to her. And many of you already know the story. Wolanski has wrote about 6 columns about it, front page of the Morning News. They've made a lot of progress in terms of the legal battle against it, but they're also facing a lot of setbacks in terms of the speed with which this thing is going to be taken apart. But what you're seeing here, for those of you who are not familiar, is an illicit asphalt recycling operation that collected thousands of more tons of asphalt shingles than they had affirmed or promised TCEQ that they would collect, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. Far more than they said that they would collect. And leaving the neighbors apparently without any remedies, in spite of months of complaints and requests for help. So consistent application of pressure, political pressure, pressure in the press, phone calls, emails, letter campaigns. Gradual progress has been made on this little 3-4 acre site where it's hard to convey the scale of this thing unless you've been down there. But it's astonishing. I took my boys 6 and 2 down to a celebration when the folks who have been involved in this organizing, Southern Sector Rising, some other organizations along with Dan Winders have been really engaged in this fight. And we've been able to, so proud to know these folks and to watch them work. And to see Marshall Jackson take all the leadership in this area. And we had a celebration down at the Morales Family Quinceanera Pavilion, just adjacent to the site. and my son couldn't believe how big it was. So as we looked at the sort of 5 minutes. Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, cool. All right, it's fine. Plenty of time. So what we saw happen in this site is really the pattern for these neighborhoods, right? Is where what people can get away with, they get away with. And when eyes are not on the street, when people are not engaged with their neighbors and listening to each other and facilitating conversation and actually paying attention to what's happening, then applying pressure when pressure needs to be applied, then people are taken advantage of. And they're taken advantage of more in these areas than there are other areas. And this is a hard map to see, but what you're seeing here is a map of racial concentration on top of the years of life lost map. And so the darker the shaded area, the more years off of the average lifespan you lose in that zip code, or that census tract. That's Parkland data, right? So it's a very simple, very brute public health measure. If you die too soon, we count those years up. If you should have gone to 72 and you got to 70, that's a 2. Right? And the higher those numbers, the darker that area. All right, familiar map? Okay, again, none of these things are accidents, right? We know where these realities come from. We know the choices that were made. We know that they were profoundly and systematically racist in ways that hid their tracks, because that's what racism is. It makes these situations seem natural. So what is our role as an institution? How do we think about ourselves in engaging these realities to help students see that even, how do I make sure my students have hope in this context? When we have seen just a slugfest in an area just down our street, where it's been hard to get that cleaned up. Well, for us, what we're trying to help them understand is that these processes are complicated, they take time, and we have to build constituencies for them to succeed. We have to build constituencies of people who understand the consequences and the realities of these choices, the history of the things that we're facing, and the actual lived reality of the science and the medicine behind the health that people are experiencing degradation of in these neighborhoods, and the possible changes that will make those lives better. So there's a line between the spectrum, a connection, a thread, that links individual neighborhoods and their health of individual people, all the way up to the big fights over climate change that we're having at the global level. All right, it's because the choices we make in these small ecologies help us understand how we can make power and how we make change in these larger ecologies. And what's at stake for us is to help our students understand that we have to make a business case. We have to establish partnerships with people that care about what we care about. People like you. People like the folks at Chester Public Land who helped put together the plan, master plan for the 5 Mile Creek Greenway. Right, where we help to activate the spaces and create a new imagination about what these places can be. Because what most people have set up for us in our neighborhood is this. This is their vision for our future. Right? It's to extract whatever they can for the land and from the people. It's the same logic. It's the same logic that's depleted the oceans and has subjected us to fossil fuel capitalism, right? But by the same token, we can use that same power of imagination and collaboration to cast a different vision for the future, right? And to make more partners for us. And that is what our coursework is about. So as we experiment with the justice course in the spring, and in the fall we'll build a course into some co-curricular stuff. There's some zoning training and also some advocacy training. In the spring we'll launch a resilience learning community. And that learning community will work with people who are, with some local scientists who are focused on the environmental drivers of health. And what we're going to build is a vision for connecting human health and climate health in a way that helps build resilient people, resilient communities for the future. And we're going to show people you can do it in our neighborhood, the people who are most affected by it. And So thank you for your time. I'm here to tell you is that's our vision for the future, and what you do in the Sierra Club by building a constituency for the natural, right? For the world outside of us, for the world's bigger than human beings. It's not just building a constituency for trees and for animals, right? It's building a constituency for civilization. Like that's what you're actually doing. Like if you can achieve that, if you can get people to buy in, care about the places they visit and what they can do for people, and we can get people to buy in and care about the communities that are most affected by these choices, then we have a future we can build together. And without it, without that imagination, without that work, I don't know that we've got much of a future together at all. So I appreciate your work, appreciate your time.
Okay.
I'm still wired.
Are you going to be able to stick around, or do you need to leave? So we could ask some questions?
I'm very happy to stick around however long you want.
It's okay.
The students rode with me, so they're stuck here. So.
Okay, we have a short film now. This is from the BBC series Planet Earth 2, and this is a segment on mountains.
Okay, Arthur, it's getting a little late. Do you want to try to do Sierra Club 101?
Sure.
Okay, normally at the end of a meeting, we'll do Sierra Club 101, where an old hand, Arthur, tells you everything you always wanted to know about Sierra Club, but we're afraid to ask. And he takes about 10 minutes, but I think it's getting a little late, so we'll forego that until the next meeting. And then the other thing is that after this meeting, a bunch of us will go to the Blue Goose up at on Midway, just south of Beltline, and I believe the club will pick up the tab for a couple of trays of nachos. Okay, other than that, I should have told you, my name is Dan Moulton, I'm the chair. Nobody really cares, but anyway, I'll tell you.
We care, Dan, we do care.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about anything that has transpired here this evening?
Will Chris be able to answer questions?
John, wait a minute, John, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question related to Chris and
Okay.
and the students. And so my question is, congratulations on your curriculum, and it sounds really exciting. What can the Sierra Club do, if anything, to help you guys in your endeavors?
Well, hi, my name is Michaela Ezel from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a psych major. So basically, we wrote on the paper, we just want to help like volunteer or just be engaged in anything that you guys have going on, basically, because we were on the ride here, we were talking about like how important did we see, environmental issues and things of that sort. So I think we all agree that we care about this stuff. Yeah.
Great.
So we just want to get involved.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Dowdy?
Just a follow-up, are they here just for the summer, or are they continuing at Colquitt in the fall?
They'll be here for 4.5 years till they graduate.
How many of you are in the Sierra Club? Before you get out of this room, you all will be. Any other questions? Oh,
Dan,
there's a guy behind you, John.
Okay, I won't dominate, but I would just encourage you, if you have ideas that you think we can help you or we can benefit from, don't hesitate. Let us know.
Yeah, or if you can help us.
Well, it's a win-win. It's so,
So
yeah.
I'll mention as well, one of the things that the signature approach we have as a college is that we're a work college. So we're like Berea, Warren Wilson, or some of the other rural schools that have this approach, where all of our students who are on campus with us have a job placement as part of how we make college very affordable for our students. So you can graduate from Paul Quinn with less than $10,000 in debt because of our financial model we have over 4 years. So where I went to school was $11,000 a year in debt to get there. So part of what I'm very activated on is finding ways to plug our students into career tracks and opportunities that will, as I said in the presentation, help them make the business case for sustainable work. Right. So as you think about the work that you do outside the Sierra Club and what the work that the club does advocate for, and you think about opportunities you might have for paid internships in those different spaces, those opportunities that can be a pathway towards a career that will marry both the things that they really care about and a real career and a vocation. Like the more ideas we have, the more partners we have that build towards that, the more viable it is to build programming and work and coursework around that. So the deeper we can go into the issues that we all care about, that's dictated by how clear the path is to career that we can link to it. So any ideas you have, any opportunities you have, any people you know that would take interns and do the kind of work we want to do and will help subsidize this education, we're up for that. So we can help make that happen.
Okay, there was another question in the back.
Hey Chris, you might have read my mind because my question is around those lines. So first of all, I applaud you for instilling a sense of social responsibility in these students of yours. I know when I was going to school, I didn't have that level of responsibility. But then I went on to spend 30 plus years of my career in IT, right? I spent that time in four walls. I didn't really have a chance to kind of do anything impactful like you're describing. So the question I have for you is this two parts, right? For the students that have left college, what have you seen in terms of the opportunities for them to continue taking that passion forward into the work? You know, real life takes over, but how have they continued that passion going forward? And on the flip side, for them who are about ready or in 4 years ready to move on, what are the obstacles you see preventing them from taking that passion forward?
Right. So I think, you know, we don't live in a system that always rewards the things that we want to reward. You know, the market doesn't value all the things that are going to be sustainable for a 100-year future. So given that that's our reality, you know, how do we equip our students, especially students who come from backgrounds that aren't always money backgrounds? Like we have a population that is 85 to 90% Pell Grant eligible. That's about 67% higher than most colleges in the United States. It means that for the most part, students do not have resources coming from their families to help support them when they're in college. Their families do a lot of other things to support them, but they don't have a lot of money to help support. So, you know, when we think about the future they're trying to build, we have to make sure that we are building one really important part of that approach is that they have economic viability for the future. So we'd love for them to have a career in IT. You know, we're very proud for them to have that and to have leadership and have success. We have students who've gone on to work in finance. Students who've gone on to work in marketing. We have students who go on to work in education. You know, so we have people at multiple layers that launched into. The thing we're trying to train them to think about is how to solve really meaningful problems wherever they go. So that's useful in the entrepreneurial sense within an organization. What we want them to be able to do is to translate that success in the workplace and also extend it to their communities in a way that makes them an asset to their communities. So one of our 4 L's of Quinn Leadership is that we leave places better than we found them, right? So amen from the corner, right? So what we try to instill in them from day one is that wherever they go, they have the opportunity to do the work of justice and do the work of improving people's lives, helping more people to thrive. So there are a lot of avenues to that. And aligning the political and cultural and economic modes of self-determination for them is a lifelong process. But we are trying to get them to see that they can build, we just had an opportunity to go visit with the folks from Human Rights Initiative of North Texas last week, and sort of walking us through the reality, like, lawyers make $500 an hour in their practice, and then spend really meaningful amounts of time saving people's lives doing pro bono work every month. And both those things are possible, So we try to get our students to see that you can make an impact and you can do really transformative stuff in ways that help you build a transformative future for your family. And for people that have not had money, you can go find ways to make money. And you can also translate that into ways that you can serve your community and have transformative leadership in that way too. So we've seen students take a lot of different approaches to that, but we're trying to get that mindset where they can see and make those connections to these places where they've found them all over.
Okay, Wendell, what were you trying to tell me?
We have lots of food, please, we don't want any food to go to waste. Sorry.
We have lots of food, we don't want it to go to waste. What do you want them to eat it?
I want them to come eat it, take it with them, take it to go if they want it.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned.